Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's talk some elephant money futures. Hey everyone, it's Bailey from the EMH, and I'm back with another elephant money video. And guys, today I'm going to be diving a little bit into the changes to the futures contract. All right. And first and foremost, if you actually want to watch a decent video on this topic with some actual production quality, you can check out my friend SK Crypto K, who walks us through a lot of the different mechanics that are now in place in the elephant money system. A lot of changes have been going on. BT has been very busy kind of future proofing and getting our system ready to be fully decentralized. All right. So there's some awesome changes. So check that video out. If you want like an article instead of listening to me ramble on, Crypto Stew released a nice kind of succinct to the point article highlighting some of the changes to futures. This is on Medium. So you can check that one out as well. Just don't look at any of his Furio stuff. God bless him. All right. All right. So guys, on to elephant money. All right. So the futures contract is it's going to be a little bit different because what happened was we were with BUSD. All right. And we know that BUSD got fudded out of existence. And so now we are actually changing to BNB in and out. All right. So you deposit BNB, you will receive BNB as your withdrawal currency. However, guys, everything is stable, like kind of like stable coin value still. It's called cash accounting. So everything is in USD value. All right. So when you withdraw, you'll just withdraw the USD value and you'll get paid in BNB to that corresponding USD value. And if you don't want it to be volatile or fluctuate, then you go to Pancake Swap and you can swap it out for any stable coin of your choice if you wanted to, or just cash it right out to fiat. Okay. All right. So guys, let's take a look. So for futures, I have my little mini futures account that I am building for a family member. Each one, teach one. There's really no excuse, guys. All right. So here, if we look at the kind of layout, it looks very similar to what our old futures presentation looked like here. It's a little more simplistic. All right, so you have all your stats here from your particular account. Later, I'm going to be going in and hopefully compounding this bad boy. All right, so I can show you what it looks like if you want to interact with it. But right now, guys, what I wanted to focus on was just a few of these details here, which makes this contract new and updated versus the old contract. Okay. And it's still that 0.5% per day. All right. But there's no longer a BUSD treasury. There's no longer the BUSD buffer pool, and everything has now been converted over to BNB. So one thing that you're going to notice that's different on this overview screen is this available sweep button. All right, or this available sweep and then this button here. And basically, that's going to be for when we are fully decentralized, the community will be managing and governing and pushing and interacting with some of these buttons that maintain and upkeep the system. And so that available sweep, that's one of the changes that has been implemented into the futures contract, where there is an APR of the treasury that is actually being accumulated, and then it can be released into the buffer pool, or this time it's actually now called the BNB reserve. All right, so I'm gonna have to get those terms straightened out. All right, lots of changes here. All right, so guys, I'm gonna walk you through just a little bit of a little presentation I put together just to kind of highlight some of the key things. So when you're interacting with the system again, you'll have just a decent understanding of like what's going on. All right. It's nothing worse than like trying to like navigate something. You're like, all right, I got money in here. I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. All right. So I'm going to try to make it as clear as possible for everybody. Okay. All right. So yeah, so the sweep button, So 1% APR of the elephant treasury is now going into that, and it's being accumulated, and it can be released by the community through the sweep button. Okay, and that's going to go into what's called the BNB reserve. All right, so right here, guys, if we, instead of clicking overview, if we go to the yield page right here, what you're going to notice, ah, okay, what the heck? All right, sorry. Like I said, guys, I am not a professional. I meant my little laser pointer, and then I got all jammed up. All right, so yeah, so if we go to the yields option here, guys, you're going to see that it has daily yield, 0.5%, all right? And that's the yield that we've all come accustomed to, all right? And there's a tweak to that that you'll see later in the next slide. You're going to see this thing called daily liabilities, all right? And that's how much new available is being accrued each day in the system. So from all of the deposits, all right, that's how much it's growing by each day for the daily liabilities. And those can be withdrawn. All right, some folks let them build up and then they compound it back into the system. Okay, and then we have this B&B reserve. So we have kind of this big little stockpile of B&B, and that kind of handles the day-to-day smaller transactions in the system. All right. So if someone spends or withdraws less than 1% of the value of the B&B reserve, then it is handled by the reserve. All right. That's kind of like just like when you walk into a bank, you have like just the tellers right there. And, it's kind of like for the smaller transactions and whatnot. All right. If you're going for like a bigger transaction and you are withdrawing more than 1% of that, well, yeah, they kind of take you into the back office. All right. And Bertha kind of counts out your money for you. And Bertha ends up taking care of that withdrawal. But however, she then goes and tops up the B&B treasury in this top up strategy, like B&B treasury, B&B reserve. Um, and so it grows it a little bit so that can now handle even larger transactions. Okay, so there's three main inflows that you want to pay attention to with this new little B&B reserve. So this is how it can grow. As always, just like in the last version, 10% of all deposited funds, 10% go into the reserve, 90% go into buying elephant token in the elephant token buyback program, and Bertha gets larger. Okay. And then we had that top up strategy that I mentioned. All right. So if there is a large withdrawal that Bertha has to pay for, she actually sells 10% more elephant tokens than necessary. And she pays out the redemption and then puts 10%, that 10% into the B&B reserve to grow that. All right. It kind of acts like a buffer where she's not always selling elephant token to handle most of the business transactions of futures. Okay. And then, guys, there is that sweep function that we talked about where it's 1% APR of the treasury and it's accumulating throughout the day and it can be released and it can just be kind of another little supplement to the B&B reserve. All right. And right now, guys, Bertha's sitting at about 75.5 million in evaluation. And if we take a look at that, guys, that would be if we calculate 1% APR. So that's 1% over the course of a year. So we divide that by 365, and we can see the amount of funds that are going in each day, roughly. All right. So it'd be a little more than $2,000 each day, can just kind of extra that can be thrown in there, as well as all of the deposits and any top ups. Okay. And I left this unrounded for certain reasons. One of my friends out there will probably pick up on that. All right. And next, guys, we have here. All right. What's going on here? 0.5%, man. Like that's the plan, right? Well, so there's now going to be this new rate scaling mechanism. So basically that 0.5% per day can change and decrease if there is like some crazy black swan event or if the system gets incredibly unhealthy for some reason. All right. And the way that works is right now, guys, the yield you're going to see 0.5%. And that's the yield we all expect. And with all the analytics, if you look at everything of how futures has been running and progressing, everything's been squeaky clean and really good. So 0.5%, I expect to see that for a long, long time, right? Now, what it's going to look at, though, is it's going to look at the daily liabilities and it's going to look at the BNB reserve and it's going to compare those two quantities. And if it gets to a point where the BNB reserve is less than the daily liabilities number, then it will start to decrease the 0.5% per day, right? And basically what we would do is we would get a percentage of that 0.5% per day. So it would kind of scale down. And what that would do then is it would reduce the amount of daily outflows that you could withdraw. And so it scales it down and shrinks it down in size where the BNB reserve can now then keep blocking that same kind of proportion of them. So it acts as just like a scale down of the system, but it still like operates completely normally with the exception of just that smaller rate. But all the other mechanics would be in play and it would operate just as you would expect. All right. So, yeah. So what you would do, guys, and just some examples would be, say if we have a reserve, 250K, but the liabilities were now twice as much, the daily liabilities for whatever reason. All right. Then we would just take a look, and that would trigger that rate reduction. And you just kind of create a fraction so we can figure out like that percentage, and it would be 0.5 or like 1/2. So you would take that, multiply by the 0.5% per day, and we would actually be down to 0.25% per day, right? Which is still like great, but that's how that would work. So if the daily liabilities is twice as large, we would get half the daily yield paid out. Okay. But then I just made another example. Like, what if we went up to like $1 million in daily liabilities, and for whatever reason, the reserve was not worth that much, right? Like, we're now out of the bull cycle and now we're in like the bear cycle again, and BNB has lost a lot of value. All right. Like say if something like that happens and this is what our numbers look like what would we be looking at there? And so again, you just take a look at that and we would be getting only like 30% of that 0.5%. So that would be about 0.15% per day, right? That you'd be getting out of your futures account. Right. And example 3, I just threw this in there because some people, they just love to torture themselves. And so it's like, hey, what if everything like just is disaster? Okay. So I kind of kept this little reserve number and I was like, what if we wake up tomorrow and B&B is just like $100, right? And we still have roughly these same daily liabilities, okay, which is stagnant, like it's like a cash and counting, like that's not going to fluctuate, that's stable value, right? What would it look like? Okay. So yeah, like what if B&B, we wake up tomorrow and it's $100? See? Ooh, ooh, baby. We got a bull run going on. Look at this, guys. Tax harvesting is over. New year. All right. That's lovely. Okay. So what am I doing here? Okay. So what happens, guys, if we wake up tomorrow morning and our daily liabilities are the same, but B&B is $100? All right. First of all, everything would be like total chaos, but we would still be getting paid over 0.2%, all right, or 0.20% per day. Okay. If B&B crashes down and we have this like incredible black swan event. All right, so futures, and you're still going to get like it just expands the runway, right? You don't actually like lose your value at all. It just would take a little longer for you to have like that value built up and withdrawing and all that stuff. So, pretty awesome. So it really, guys, is a situation where it's a fail safe, like at the very end. We want the system to go as long as the blockchain lives. And if we don't have an active custodian because it's completely decentralized and run by the community, we want like kind of, I feel more comfortable having something like this like in place, so that the system doesn't go into like a complete failure if something crazy happened, right? So that's kind of the idea behind that new rate scaling mechanism there. And that's how that works. Okay. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff, pretty interesting stuff. All right. Oh yeah, one thing I did want to mention though is with the daily liabilities. Um, that number like looks kind of scary, but if we looked at the real data, like there's not that amount of money that's being like withdrawn like every single day. Like theoretically, if all 3,000 people like decided to withdraw at the same exact moment, like that could be withdrawn each day. Um, and then you have to remember how futures works, where that subtracts from your balance, right? So it's exponential decay if you claim out like every single day like that. But yeah, like if we actually looked at the real data, you can kind of see if we go to Dune, like the withdrawals, like each day, we had like one monster day of withdrawals. But on average, if we look like 33K, 59K, 40K, 35K, we did have that one monster like 315K. Like that person was going hog wild probably for a little New Year's party or something. Whew, all right. But then back to like 20K, 19K, 54K. So that like 175K like daily liability number, that's not the number that's actually being like withdrawn like every day. So just to kind of clear that up in case, because it does sound a little bit like that. Okay. All right, guys. So that's it for like kind of like the big kind of futures changes and things that you should be aware of. I'm going to be doing more things with sustainability and more kind of diving into the mechanics later on. But first, guys, I just want to show you guys a little bit of how, all right, this works where if we want to compound, all right, because now we're putting in BNB and not BUSD anymore. So if we come to our screen here, so how futures works, guys, is right now this account that I have, it's got about 5,300 in total value, and I have a little more than 200 available. So I could take that out if I wanted to, or I can put in $200 a deposit or more, and it would add to my total value, and then also the available would then add back into my total value. So that's how you're going to compound your gains in futures. All right. So here we go, guys. So what I'm going to do is hit deposit. And what's nice about this is because it's BNB, like I used to just type in 200 with the BUSD and it was done. But now it's like, I don't know what $200 is worth in BNB. Remember, this is always like USD value now. So Bank Teller did add this nice little minimum, which would put you right at the threshold to get you that compound. All right. So that's nice. So it's like, all right, it's 0.632. I have enough. Sweet. So I'm going to deposit that. Da, 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 da. I got the, all right, here we go. I was like, I got the little rainbow circle of death over here on my screen for a second. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna put my Rabby wallet with a gas of 1. All right, if you guys are not on Rabby wallet, I have no idea what you guys are doing. All right, and because you can load your ledger right into your Rabby wallet, you can load your MetaMask right into your Rabby wallet, get cheap gas, get like really good security notifications, everything like that. So all right, I think I just I compounded. Let's see. So it should bring this up to a little more than 400 in value, 400 extra. So be up to around like 5,700 or so once it rolls in. And yeah, all right, 5,699. Not too bad, not too shabby for this futures account. All right, remember guys, my previous video, like we need things like this to kind of keep pace with just the insane inflation and crazy stuff that's going on in the world. All right, so elephant money futures awesome flagship products of elephant.money, decentralized community bank. We got futures, elephant, and unlimited. All right, all top-notch products, guys. Elephant Money has been around now for, all right, going on 3 years. All right, we are close to the 3-year mark. In early May, we'll be around for 3 years. So that is like time-tested and battle proven, awesome protocol and great community. All right, so guys, check out Elephant Money Futures. And until next time, all right, this is Bailey from the EMH. I'm out.